When I was in the Amazon seller realm, this was back in, I want to say 2014, around there, 2013, 2014. Uh, Amazon FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, became very huge. And some people still don't even know what it is, but essentially you can sell your own items on Amazon. Everyone could do it on eBay. eBay was so popular. But the problem with eBay was that when you sold something, you had to go pack it up and ship it. But what Amazon FBA allowed you to do was ship a whole bunch of different items in a box, send it to Amazon, and then they would list it for you. And when somebody bought it, they would ship it. So they shipped faster, more reliably, and so on. And it really changed the game of online selling. And for me, I never got really into. I did the FBA for a while, for a little bit, selling things here and there, because you could even still to this day, you can go to some thrift stores, find some stuff that you buy for $2 and sell it for 50 or 100 and so on, and you could make some nice money with it. But what I ended up ultimately getting into was Amazon drop shipping. And this is not about how to drop ship on Amazon, not about how to sell online and things like that. It's actually more of a deeper concept, because what I would find in this whole realm was Amazon would make a change. They would change their terms of service. You could only do certain things now. And when these changes would happen, there was a huge amount of people who would spiral, who would just completely lose it. They'd quit Amazon. They wouldn't know what to do, and they'd go back to their day-to-day, or they'd go back to whatever they were comfortable with. And this would happen over and over and over again. So I ended up teaching people how to drop ship on Amazon. And as soon as there was a little change, I would have people say, "Oh, you can't drop ship anymore. You can't do this anymore. Oh, I quit. I'm done. This sucks. I'm a loser," or whatever. And they would completely just lose control and go back to where they were. And I ended up creating this phrase, and I haven't used it in a while, so let me see if it can hit it the first time. And the phrase was, most people doing business on Amazon have no business in business. And the reason why I say that is that at the time, really anybody could start a business with Amazon. It was so easy. It was so easy. I remember teaching this one. She was like 80-something-year-old. She was an 80-something-year-old lady. And I was in my backyard teaching her how to, talking to her on the phone, kind of walking her through the process and everything like that. And I ended up hanging up the phone and just thinking, yeah, she's not going to be able to do this. She's going to want her money back from the course that she just bought from me. And it's just not going to happen. Well, about 6 months later, she calls me up and she's like, this is literally how she sounds like. She's like, "Dean, you are amazing. I can't believe what I'm able to do now thanks to you. I'm able to make so much more money than I have before. I don't have to rely on Social Security, and you are just the absolute best." And I'm thinking, you did it? That's okay. If you can do it, anyone can do it. And and it was true. It was so easy to do. But as things got tighter and tighter and tighter, more and more people were like, "This is not possible." And the reason why I say that people who were in the Amazon business had no business doing business was because ultimately they didn't have business or entrepreneurial concepts in their head. And it's not even that they didn't have, they had the techniques, they had the tactics, but they didn't have the self-concept. They didn't see themselves as, okay, if this isn't going to work, I'm going to make this work over here. If this doesn't work, I'm going to make this over here. And then as that's going on, I'm going to also have this and this and this and this. They wanted just a quick way to make extra money or leave their full-time job or whatever it might be. And because of that, when a hiccup happened, everything exploded. Everything, not in a good way, not exploded as in their business did extremely well. No, it actually was opposite. Everything came crashing down for them because they didn't see themselves as somebody doing business. They saw themselves as somebody selling items on Amazon. This is why I keep on harping over and over in these videos the importance of your self-concept, the importance of what do you see yourself as. And if you aren't that yet, if you aren't what you want to be or what you see yourself as, let's say you want to be that entrepreneur, you want to be doing, if you're not seeing yourself as that now, if you're not visualizing yourself as that now, why that is going to be detrimental to you in the long run. Because everything comes down to how you view yourself. And it's not from the head. Obviously it's from your mind, but it's from your body, it's from your whole being. Right? And so how do you start seeing yourself as what you want it to be? As what you want to be, okay? The easiest way, right before you go to bed, you start visualizing from the first person, from as if you were living what you wanted. Start visualizing, feel, taste, touch, see. And yes, maybe you don't have that ability, because everyone has the ability to visualize. Some people, though, over time, because we don't ever use it, it becomes weak, very, very weak. And mine was that way as well. And it's gotten way, 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 way better over time. It's just like a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it's going to atrophy. It'll never fully atrophy. It'll never fully go away, but it's going to take some time to get it back. But you start imagining what it would be like to be that person. You start imagining conversations. You start imagining to me, I go straight to the end. That's what Neville Goddard teaches. So, like, for example, for me, I have a specific goal in mind. I want to build this workshop on my land, this huge, huge, huge place where I can store exotic cars on my land. And so, and hold conferences, hold masterminds, things like that. And so, for me, last night, I was imagining, my imagination was taking me to me being on stage in this thing that I want to build, this workshop. I'm just calling it a workshop that I want to build, talking with 10 to 20 guys, then taking them over to my cars, my Lamborghini, my Aventador, my Tesla Model S that I have here, my Wraith, and having and a McLaren. So 5 cars, taking them over to them, having them touch my cars along with me, teaching them how to visualize. Because this is actually one of the reasons why I drive this, is because I literally went into one of them, started touching, feeling what it was feeling like, and then I would visualize what it would feel like to have this car. And eventually it became mine. So having them feel, touch, drive it, And then but my thing is, I'm feeling those as well as I'm feeling myself on the stage. I'm feeling myself in my workshop, which means that it's already built, which means that I've already had the capital to build it, which means that all of the stuff, that the how is not important, it's already done. And so being in that present moment, being in that moment means that everything was finished, everything was completed. So how it got to there, don't care, don't know, but that sets in motion, everything to get to that point. And I will have that very soon. Okay. The this has happened over and over and over and over again. The reason why when Amazon changes terms on FBA and then changes terms on drop shipping, and then from drop shipping I went to systems consulting, and then from systems consulting I went to what I do now, and to design, and to all these different things, merch by Amazon, all these different things, is because my self concept, how I saw myself, is an entrepreneur who figures things out. No matter what, I'm at the end. If I'm thinking of the end, and I'm in the place that I wanted to live, which 100% happened. And if you look at past videos, I share that story of visualizing. If I'm in that place, I have to be making a good amount of money, right? And so when I see myself as somebody who none of this is going to affect, none of these little changes are going to affect in a huge way, it's just going to move me from this point to this point to this point, and I have to pivot, then that's what's going to happen. But if I see myself as somebody who's just selling knickknacks and stuff for extra money because I'm constantly living paycheck to paycheck, and I'm always going to be living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, this is just helping me to achieve that goal. That's what's going to happen. Is as soon as the term changes, then it's, oh crap, of course, it's always happens to me. Things like this change. It never works out for me. I'm going to have to find the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, right? And so when you start seeing yourself and visualizing and feeling into those moments and literally feeling, whether it's a touch, feeling some emotion, feeling really the joy, it's like the happiness of it, like kind of, and you don't have to be like, oh yeah, this is so cool. Like real, when it says natural as possible, that's when things start to happen, and it happens over and over and over again. One example that I was just thinking of as I was driving and going to explain as I'm talking through all this was where I'm at. I'm on 20 acres, and it's in the country, and when it's nighttime, it is pitch dark, and the 20 acres is hills. So I'm up on a hill, like up on the top of this like valley, and it goes down into a creek. When you look outside, prior to some of my visualizations, there was no lights. Maybe there were, I can see on the hill a neighbor here, a neighbor over there, but there were no neighbors around. Where it's not like a suburb or anything like that where you can go and knock on the door and neighbor. No, you have to get on your car and drive to your neighbor. So I'm on 20 acres, and it goes down this hill, and there's nothing but pitch dark. But I want chickens, I want animals, I want to be able to go down my land and be able to see things and not have to take a flashlight everywhere. So I started envisioning these sheds that have solar on them, and that just going down my road down my hills. I started envisioning what it would be like to be at my window looking out and seeing solar lights kick on, and seeing nothing but, like, almost like a little city, but it's my little country city, right? And it took a few years, but one of my neighbors who I finally met, who actually is one of my sales guys now, he does solar. And long story short, now when I look out my window, there are shed, and these sheds have like one is like a little workshop that I have that where I can go and do woodworking and stuff like that. Another one's for gardening. Another one's what I call a super shed. It's where I have all my chicken stuff, but it has a ton of solar on it. It has these big, huge, bright lights that go all over the place. And so when I go down, it has a fridge with stuff. So if I'm down there, I can go and just have a sparkling water or whatever. And as I'm looking out my window at night, I'll see boop, something kick on because maybe one of the cats are walking by. Something kick on because there's a coyote going. At one point in time, there was a bear that kicked it on. So now I can see everything that's going on down on my land. There's no darkness anymore. I can see everything that's going on, and that came from visualization. And you'll say, well, no, it's because you had money and you were able to buy that stuff. And yes, that's true. But everything you'll find comes from who you think you are. If I thought that, oh no, I'm a small country little bumpkin, there's no way that I'm going to be able to have any of that, and everything has to be messy looking, and I have to have a like pig slop over here and chickens over here and everything. No, it doesn't have to be that way. If you see yourself as somebody who has a really tightly organized, amazing looking property, and you visualize that into the future, that's what you'll get. And so, all of this being said, if you are in business or you want to be in business, the first thing you should start doing is imagining yourself in the end of what it would be like if you had a successful business. What would daily life be like if you had a successful business? Visualize that right before you go to bed. The more that you do that, and what would an entrepreneur do? And if you have to, go and find somebody who's a successful entrepreneur and hang out with them for a day or a few hours and see how they live. Then you can start visualizing yourself in that place, and then you'll start embodying that. And you'll start changing the habits. So when you do start trying to make money here and there and so on, it's not out of need. It's not out of like hustle, 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 hustle. It's out of, no, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm building my skill set. And eventually you will end up being what you start visualizing. So start visualizing, change your self-concept. That is key.